Welcome to Relufe Conversation Podcast. I am your host, Prince Ayo Akinsanya. On this podcast, we'll be documenting, talking to different people from all walks of life, having random conversations, and everything in between. Sit back, enjoy, and thank you for listening. Welcome back to Relufe Conversation Podcast. I am your host, Prince Ayo Akinsanya. On today's episode, I have a very special guest, and I will let my guest introduce herself.
Hello, everyone. My name is Royal Majesty, Tinuade, Babalola, Adejuyigbe, Adele one of Iboropa, Akoko, Ondo State, a former regent of Iboropa, Akoko. Thank you.
Thank you for coming, Modupe. When I think it was probably 2 years ago, in the summer I was on Instagram and I came upon your page. And I was fascinated. Why? Because you are very outspoken. You use social media a lot, right? And I was like, who is this? And, I started following you, knew your story a bit. For people that don't know, you were the youngest king, Adele, in Yoruba land, I believe so, at the age of 16.
Yes, you could say that.
So what was that like? Now, I was having a conversation before behind the scene. I was telling you, a lot of the people behind this camera, they don't know that in Yoruba land, we have a female king. For a lot of our listeners that probably this is also their first time, could you explain to them what's the dynamic? How does that work?
Okay. Thank you for having me. I don't know where to start because it's a whole lot, and I think I'll just break it down to bits so that everybody could easily grab. Regency in Yoruba land has been happening for a long time. I could say like a century, but it's just that it's not as pronounced as it is now. Now we have regents in mainly Ondo and Ekiti states. Yeah, some parts of Osun and maybe other parts of Yoruba land could, but mostly people who emerge as regents usually come from these two states, Ondo and Ekiti states. And in my own case, and I think that is relative to everyone else's case as well, as a princess, you are entitled to be an Adele. In some places, it could be the eldest female child of the king. In some cases, it could be any of the children. And even for others, it could be as long as you are a child of the royal family, a female child in the royal family, you are entitled to it.
And what was your own situation?
Yeah, in my own case, I think it's everywhere as well. My father died. The late Kabiesi was my father, and he passed on. So deliberations were made as to who would come up as the regent. And you know that to avoid any form of tyranny or usurpation of power or anything that could actually cause disruption to the rule, the regent has to be enthroned so that people would actually value leadership, knowing that yes, a king is gone, but there's also a king handling the affairs of the community. So they decided that they should choose one person from the royal house, and they narrowed it down to the children of the late king. So I have two female siblings. So I have an older sister, I have a younger sister, so I am the one in between. Yes. So deliberations were made and they took our names, they made consultations and all of that. So at the end of the day, I emerged. Yes.
And what was that like for you at such a young age? And I presume you were in secondary school then?
Okay. I lost my father, and my father was, I don't know for everybody else, but for us women, as a female child, if you have a good father, trust me, he's going to be your role model. He's going to be your superhero.
True.
So a day before he died, he went to the school with me. I just got admission, so he went to pay my acceptance fee. So we went to the bank together and all that. He was telling me about life. This is what you do now that you're in school, all of this and all of that. And sorry, this is.
I'm sorry.
This is. Yeah, it's really making me feel emotional because, like I said, it was like it was my mother, it was my father. Everything. So
absolutely.
So moving on. After he paid my acceptance fee, he said he wanted to go for a checkup, and we went to the hospital together. I stayed back in the car thinking it was going to take like at most an hour and we'll be back. So then his PA came down and he told us that he's been placed on bed rest and he has to be in the hospital. So then I went home. I didn't even bother to go and check on him or anything. So I thought, he'll be fine. So the next morning, we got a call. My mom called that he passed. So after that, we were in mourning, and while we were mourning, life moves on fast. So like Yoruba would say, "Emi Segun ju emi yan lo." So immediately they were thinking of how to get a replacement. Wow. Yes, well, the family was still mourning. So like 2 weeks after I emerged, I was still dumbfounded because I was in shock. I was mourning. I couldn't even have proper time to mourn, with people around, because we had to vacate the palace, to actually give the people space for some, some rites of passage and things like that for him. So we really never really had time to mourn, and it just came to us that okay, bring us the names of the princesses, and that's it. The next thing I knew, after church, just called a meeting that okay, you want famu, so now you have to assume. So I was still in shock. So up to now, I still can't actually place how I felt about it. Wow. Yes, because it was, yeah.
And I'm sure, typically in Yoruba land, enjoy. So in your own time, I'm just trying to process a 16-year-old that just loved a loving father, and 2 weeks later, you have to come and reign over the kingdom, come and lead these people. What was that like? Transitioning, not properly mourning. What was that?
That first day, after all the rites were completed, they went into my father's room and they brought out his clothing for me to wear, got his male attires, the agbada, the crown, everything. And I was not allowed to cry because it was really emotional. No, about you have to keep it together, all of that. So wearing his clothes.
It has to be weird.
Yeah, and yes, it was really weird because the clothes were really big. So and it was even dragging behind me, and I was wondering why would I have to do this? And people were telling me, it has to be you. Now you have to represent the ruling family, the ruling house. So you don't. Now they gave me lots of do's and don'ts and things like that. So now your eyes, all of that, and you can't walk in wrong. So you have to keep yourself together. And I was not even hearing any of that. I was not, wearing his clothes, the scents all over his clothes brought back a lot of memories that I could not even control. I just started to leave immediately. I left the place. So transitioning for me was quite funny because yes, it told me now you have to move into his room and all of that. This is how you would do. This is what you would do, and all of so. And like I said, I just got admission. So it was really, really overwhelming for me.
What school was that?
Adejuyigbe University, so Akoko. So I think the university is about 30 to 35 minutes drive away from home. So it was quite comfortable.
Close for you.
Yeah, it was quite comfortable. But there were times I would forget to wear the royal regalia. There are times I would forget to cover my head. There are times I would flaunt some, some rules because
you were still
young. It took a while for me to get used to being that person that the society and my people want me to be. Yes. So it was quite difficult.
So now you had to balance the kingdom, then your schooling, studying.
Yes.
So you have to attend to public matters, events.
Yes, but for that I had the help of my chiefs because they know what could a 16-year-old actually do. Yes. I had to study, then I had to, lead the community. So I called a meeting, like even the first speech I gave to them, the first speech I gave during the community meeting, I told them that I am a young person, so you can't expect me to know everything and to make the best decision for the people. So you as the people, you as the elders, you are there to, be the bridge between me and the people. So whatever you think that the people need, let me know about it, then I would find a way around it. And they were quite accepting. My people were quite, yes, because they knew the custom already. They knew that this has been put in place to ensure that there's a smooth reign throughout the interregnum, so that people would not actually feel that there is no monarch. So they helped, especially my chiefs. They were quite helpful. I dedicated most of my responsibilities to them so I could focus on school. Wow. And they really did help. So sometimes, most of the time, yes, they would still expect me that, okay, no, even if you do these things on your behalf, you still have to be there so that you give the final verdict. So yes, so they made sure that they adjusted my schedules so that I wouldn't mix with schooling and all of that, and they really helped. So they were quite helpful, like I said.
For that, for you, an average, I believe you ran almost 7 years. You were.
Yes.
Is that typical, or does it usually, is yours the longest, or is it the shortest? What's like the average transitioning period? For Adele and for the next Oba to be crowned?
For my community, I could say that I'm the first Adele that the community had, because over time they would choose the eldest person in the community to lead the community after a king passes on. And you know how that can be, giving roles to elderly men who can't take them of themselves, expecting them to lead the community. So it wasn't quite easy, and they faced a lot of issues. The family of the man taking actions against the people, doing things unlawfully and all of that. So they decided that this time around, instead of going through that route, let's do something else. And they decided to choose me. And yes, I really wouldn't say that mine was the longest, because, like I said, this is a practice that is common.
Yeah.
That is well known.
I guess for things you've seen, have you seen like more than 10 years? Is it possible?
Yes, I'm guessing there. Yes. So in Ondo State, it takes lots of time, especially in Akoko land. It takes a lot of time for them to deliberate and actually, because all this power to supremacy battle, I am this, that, all of this. So court cases, ruling and all of that. So it takes time. That is even the actual reason why they decided that they should have a regent. So other places like Ekiti State, at most I think it's 6 months for them. They
have to resolve.
Exactly. But for us, I've had, in Nago, I've had regents friends that spent 10 years, 11 years, 12 years, 15 years. So,
wow.
Yes.
Now, in my research, I've known of Adele for years, for a while, but I've never met one. So, I'm meeting a Royal Majesty. So, this is my first time. And I've read about, I don't know how true is it, that there are some things an Adele cannot do, you were quite young, you can't have a husband, you can't be married, but if one is married, you can. Can you clarify that? What's the...
Okay. I think that the issue of restriction varies from one community to another.
Okay.
So
it's
some
not standard.
Some would prefer a younger person.
Okay.
So, and the younger person, they would know that their sexual appetite would not be as much as those that are actually married and things like that. So they know that for me now, and for most of the ladies that I know, even everybody, you are expected to be celibate during the period, while you're there as an Adele. So yes, we've had Adeles that were married before they assumed the throne. So definitely, maybe they would have come up with something between themselves and their husbands. Yes, so but that is the sacred rule, because having a child on the throne while you're on the throne, usually if it turns out to be male, the child could actually claim the throne. Yes, would claim. And you know that in Yoruba land, the female lineage cannot assume. Yes, in most places in Europe. Yes, not all, but most places. Yes. So that is the reason why it is forbidden for Adelais. And apart from the regular code of conduct, etiquette, and things like that.
Temper.
So yes, you can't eat in public. You can't.
But now
the head can't be open.
A lot of our kings are now eating.
Yeah, it depends. Things are changing. Things are changing, and I really wouldn't want to talk about that.
Drinking on YouTube. Okay.
So that's it.
Now, coming to the throne at 16, very young age, how did you balance your coronation, your responsibility, and 21st century? By 21st century, I mean social media. Because you are young, you still want to live your own life at the same. How did you balance that?
Okay. I can't say for others, but while we were growing up, my parents have groomed us to act like royalty. And you know that when you're royalty, you have eyes on you. There are places you can't go. There are things that you can't do. So that is already there. So, and that has always been what I've known all my life. So I don't think I had any. I don't think I had any friends that could say that I visit or people that I, go to, because knowing that your father is a king, that creates lots of enemies for you. So even when you think, because I think I heard something recently that for celebrities, when you think you have fans, half of them are your enemies, half of them are your friends. So things like that. So people have always had this stereotypical view about us. I really did not have any friend that I could say while growing up, at 16, you were concerned about getting admission, and I thought that, yes, this is the right time where I could actually explore the world, and that happened. So I got caged in again. I really wouldn't say, I don't have a better word actually, because I really wouldn't say that I was caged in. So then that happened. So it's not like I had any of that. Then social media for me was like my safe haven away from, the stress. And I figured that if you have to wait on the government for because my community is a small one, we're about 10,000 in population. Okay. So I figured that there could be better ways to actually help them, getting international and local actors to come in and do something for them. And I realized that this part of leadership has been marginalized, and there is need for people to know more about us, to actually project us to the world. To the world. Yeah. So, like I said, I faced lots of disappointments from the government, lobbying, all of that. You have to wait for the governor, you have to wait for this commissioner would act like. I felt this, lots of bickering and people playing politics. I felt, let me just leave them at it, and I'm sure that there are people capable and who would actually want to help us. So I did that, and with time, people started asking questions. What do you need? What does the community need? All of that, and I was able to actually get the help that they really needed. So,
on that takes me to this question: as a king for your community of 10,000 people, were you getting paid salary?
Well, the institution of regency is quite regimented, but at the same time it's in the constitution. Okay. So they know already, the government knows that they are regents. Yeah, they will be marginalized. They are chiefs, they are high chiefs who get paid. So definitely we were getting paid. When I first got in, I was receiving the full salary that my father received for like a month or two. Then later on, it got slashed. Because he said that he don't want us to get too comfortable on the throne.
So that's like maybe 5 million to 2.5.
Oh, wow. Let me laugh.
How much is your salary?
Oh, 30,000 naira.
Sorry?
It was even 20, so we had to, fight.
30K?
Yes, 30K. That's it. At most, they were being paid 40K. So that's the most the government could do for us. So we're quite marginalized.
Now that takes me to a question. I was having a conversation with one of my friends, and he was saying because of, it's almost like we have a lot of kings now. Would you say, I mean, you're a king too, would you say, my friend's argument is, because we have so much, do we still need them? Or should they be, maybe not eradicated, but a lot of them should be cancelled? Now, with salary of 30K, how were you supposed to live? Because 30K can't do anything.
Sure.
How much is you go and see?
Oh.
Like, how did you survive on that kind of salary?
Well, I had family members. The community could not do much because when you are there, they will respect that my child needs school fees. My husband is in the hospital. Help me with this. I'm looking for a job. They don't care that you are in need, because when they see you all dressed, they will think, oh wow,
even your outfit,
one
outfit, how much is how much is tailor?
Exactly. So and life has not been so rosy and juicy as people would think it is. So, but I've had help, like I said. I've had people who were considerate.
People were coming, yes, shipping.
So they really help. I've had family members, some of the people from the community, those that are in diaspora, so they raised funds for us. At some point, we created a GoFundMe for
yes, for
projects, and yes, and it really worked out well. Really? And with that, we were able to divert the attention of government, and they helped to renovate some schools and build a new one. So,
and I think when I was doing my research before I reached out to you, I saw another interview where there was an argument that once a region leaves office, salary stops. Then what's next?
Well, I can't say for others, because my community, I think my place to the state government is like 2 hours drive. So you should know how. And
the road.
Exactly. So you should not, even before they would think of doing anything for us, you have known that, yes, so that is for people, for big cities like Akure, state capital, and other places. If they have regency, you would know that, yes, definitely the woman must be well to do even before she assumes the position. But for a 16-year-old who was just getting by, trying to get through school, all of that, so it wasn't quite easy. It wasn't easy at all. And they say that we have to be celibate, and this position itself is like a sex appeal for men. Yes.
That was going to be
some people would say that, oh, because of this, no man wants to ask me out. Yeah. It is a lie. They will ask you out.
How did you go?
And they will not even, if you think that, yes, maybe they are giving me a compliment, they find me attractive. It is okay. It's not bad. Like as a woman, yes, they will find you attractive. But when they start making some snacky remarks about you and think, yes. So like at some point I had to stay off social media because I was getting that a lot. People, I can ask people out, but don't have to be rude. You don't have to be rude and being offensive.
Sometimes the way you snap back.
Exactly. So people were not really getting that life, that they think, oh well, it's just for show. You can't tell me that you are celibate. It's not possible, And so I've received lots of backlash from people, from individuals, from thinking that, oh, she's too much, she's doing too less, she's this. So that's life.
Now, on the men approaching you, how have you dealt with it in office, and how are you dealing with it? Does it get easier now that, of course, the throne prevented you from perhaps reciprocating attention? Now, what has that changed? Like, how have you dealt with that?
Well, while I was there, I felt like it is normal, because people can reason alike, because we are different and we were raised differently. So, and people are entitled to their opinions. People would, when they see you dressed well, they would think, oh, she's orring around. And when they see you, being modest, they would think, oh, imagine, you cannot do what your mates are doing, things like that. So I got that a lot. Then that didn't really, like, at first I felt I felt bad about it. I felt hurt when people say some bad things about me, make bad comments and all that. But at some point, I became indifferent because take it or leave it. That is the life we live in. One way or another, you would get tested, and in fact, I expect that from most people. So even before you say it, I know that you say it. So I just move on, and I try as much as I can. If you feel like you ask me out and I say no, if you feel like there's a need for us to maintain a friendship that would last, that is fine. But if you feel like I'm wasting your time because you said I should come and sleep with you and I said no, you feel like I'm being rude or something, I'll delete you out of my life so that I will not be taken. That is the thing with me. And now I feel like I have the mind of my own now.
Okay.
Yes. So now I can actually choose what I want and fish out the ones that I don't. Then it still feels like nothing has changed.
Really?
Because I still get that. Because for me, I was, like I said, I'm a very modest person. Apart from what you see on social media, I'm a very modest person. So whatever I'm looking for now is something long-lasting.
I actually would have thought that people would be intimidated by your role.
Wow.
Men,
you're a man. You know how you work your ways around these things.
Well, yeah, that's regular people. I'm talking to a king.
Nah.
Hello, sir. Hello, ma.
I wish.
Wow.
Yeah, I wish it wasn't like that. Like every day, every single day, different people will come. So
Interesting. Now, thank you so much for that information. Now, like I said, a lot of people don't know much about Regency. If there is one thing you can fix, if you have the mandate, maybe it's the policy, or if you have the ears of the governor, you can make one executive decision, executive order. What would you fix about this Regency?
That would be making them comfortable, because as a regent, it doesn't matter that you are a regent, because you handle the affairs of the community, and if anything happens in the community, the governor will call you. Will not call other kings around you. He would call you
because it's your kingdom.
Exactly, because it's your kingdom. You adjudicate. You make decisions for your people. You do everything. You attend meetings for them. You go through fire for them. So why can't you also receive the same compliments that they would give other people? So I feel like they should have more benefits. They should allowances. The allowances should increase. I feel like that is one thing. In fact, it should be raised to the right proportion, because that way, for me now, for instance, being a young person, I sacrificed 7 years of my life. I could not get a proper job apart from running a few businesses here and there and trying to make money. I could not get a job because people would tell you, I cannot employ you already. Let me ask you to come and carry file for me. Things. So there's no, even up to now, things aren't so juicy. You think that as soon as she's off the position, she can move on with that. But there's no moving on.
Endorsements.
There is no moving on. I've had regents that are living below poverty lines. Yes. So things are not so rosy for women, for regents out there. Some are even chased out of their husband's home because of the things, because of the rumors and all of the propagandas that the people has raised against them while they were there, and probably insecurities from the marriage and all of that. So several things has happened to several of them. So I feel like if it's that compensation that would make them feel like, yes, we've actually been consoled and we've been appreciated for our efforts, I think I would do that. They should live in luxury. Yes.
Now, the disparity in payment or the low payment, is that the same with the male counterparts, the KBAC in other community? Or is there a pay discrepancy? If there are, like, how significant? Or say 60-30K on everybody in back across, or you don't have
for regents everywhere, regardless of your class. In communities there are classes, there are second grade, there are first grade, things like that. But in everywhere it is 40,000 or 30,000. That's what you're going to be paid as a regent.
You can't say
so, and as kings, of course, they have of course, apart from that, they have the autonomy to decide that, yes, I'm going to the governor today. The governor, they would attend to them even before they consider us, because
so you guys
or government, before you know, they will say you are sleeping with one of the politicians. That yes, so things like that would not even want to compel you to go there and ask for favors. That is why I said I just had to leave that and focus on social media, because I knew I would get help from there than with these people, because I never really say because there's this saying that so that is it. I just had to. If the government can do better for them, society would appreciate them more. Because when they know that they are not beggars, they are not hungry, no one will just come and make any form of discriminative comments about them and make them feel lesser than they should be. So
makes sense. And for you, how has post position been for you? Like business, endorsement? I'm surprised you didn't get any endorsement, man.
Oh, you're surprised. This is Nigeria. Everybody would tell you.
Now that you've left, you haven't been able to work because you've been serving your kingdom.
Yes, even up till now, getting a job in Nigeria, apart from maybe you're thinking that will have an edge, but no. For a regular youth out there is very difficult. So securing a job now in Nigeria is very apart from when you're going into being an entrepreneur, owning your own business, running things yourself, that is granted. But if you want to actually work in the government office, no, trust me. So, and it's the same for me as well. And living has been really good. Now I feel at peace. I feel like because I still help my people, whatever I do for them now is out of free will. It's not because I'm being compelled or obligated to do it. So that is just it. Then now when I handed over, I was kind of in seclusion. I don't know another word to use for that. I had time to actually mourn, because I just had to go straight into business, do this, do that. I really had time to mourn, knowing that my father is in a better place, and now it is time for me to face reality. So the first few weeks was I kind of shut away everybody just to be on my own, and that's it. I had time to mourn. Then businesses, yes, real estate, sticking my fingers everywhere just to so that's it. There are promotions, because I have an active social media account, so
very active, by the way.
So I'm using that to get help for myself and for the people as well.
So, Kabisi, before we wrap up, any words of advice for our listeners, anybody getting to meet you for the first time?
Well, I wouldn't say for the first time, because
some people are watching you for the first time. They are listening to you for the first time.
Yes, and I really wouldn't want to give that advice as a first timer. I'd want to give that as an average youth in Nigeria going through a lot, because I know what it feels like to have people say no to you, to feel like you're being cast aside, to feel like you're not at that point where you want to be. I've been there, and trust me, depression is real. So I would advise that we all should stay true to ourselves, as long as you know what is best for you, as long as you have a good resolution and you're working towards it, things will go really well for you. At the end of the day, you would have a testimony. I know that, yes, the state of things in our country is not so welcoming, and we know that things are not going so well for us, but I just want you to, be optimistic about life. Yes, there are chances, there are opportunities everywhere. Take nothing for granted, because trust me, the places where you think that you won't get help, that is where you'd actually get help. So just be true to yourself, like I said. Be true, be very sincere, be honest with the people around you. That's it, stay blessed.
And for people listening to us, watching us, where can they find you?
Okay. My permanent address, of course, is going to be my community. Then now I shuffle Abuja and Ondo states, and you can find me on social media, Adele one of Iboropa, Akoko, on Facebook.
We're going to put that on the screen for you so you can see the...
Yes, on Facebook, Tinuade Babalola Regent. So that's it.
All right. Thank you so much, Kabiyesi. Eshe te dawalo. And those who are watching on YouTube, thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to follow us, subscribe. We are Relufe TV on all platforms. And again, I'm your host, Prince Ayo Akinsanya. Good morning, good evening, good night.